Good morning everybody, this is Hazel here from Graceful Embroidery. Welcome to this tutorial. You'll have to excuse my voice, I've been suffering with tonsillitis, so I may be a bit gravelly, for which I apologise, and I may take the odd sip of water during this video, but I'm determined to make these today so that I can release this tutorial. In my tutorial taking Celtic embroidery to a new level, I have made 5 combinations, taking plain Celtic knotwork designs and adding flowers and leaves and tiny elements from other collections to them to enhance the beauty of the Celtic embroidery and take it to a new level. I'm going to start with this particular design here. This is a design from Celtic Knotwork 2. It is the larger of the two. The designs in the Celtic Knotwork collection each comes in 2 sizes, and this is the large version. When we open up the first design in set 2, this is it here. Let's first of all get rid of this rust colour. I changed the colours for this and I've made it lemongrass. Underneath this design, if I take it through, you can see the underlay. Excuse me. The underlay can be stitched out on its own as a very narrow version of the design. You can omit it as well, but if you just do the top, you'll find that the satin stitches are flatter. The underlay gives them a little bit of a curb and makes them stand out more. So this is the design that we're going to work with, and the first thing I'm going to do is copy it, and when we look down here in the clipboard we can see that it's been copied safely. I'm working in Premier 2 Modify. I'm opening all the designs there because I must admit I use the Modify section of Premier 2 a lot more than any of the others, but because designs that are selected in Modify are not grouped together, when you go to the Ultra Embroidery Ultra, which is the sort of main part of the software, when you incorporate designs, as you can see, I pasted the design in, it's gone immediately into the middle on the grid there, and it is a group, it's been grouped together, which enables you to move around designs a lot more easier than you can in the Modify or Stitch editor as it used to be called. Now we are going to add some designs from the Sweet Innocence collection. I've chosen 2 designs which I think will fit nicely around the Celtic embroidery. This is the first one. As you see, we've got a nice curved design here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it and then I'm going to copy it. It's in the clipboard down there, so I can go to Premier Ultra and I'm going to paste it, and you see it pastes in the middle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to position it at the top here. When we go back to our template that we're working from, let's magnify it in and look at it a little bit closer. You can see how I've overlapped the floral elements here. This works fine. I've encountered no density issues, and it just makes it blends the design together a lot, the finished combination a lot better. So a little slight overlap in places is what we're aiming for. So we've got one at the top, we paste again, and that little arrow there means we can flip it and position it. Probably best to zoom in. Oops, doesn't want to. Here we are. Now that means that we use that little crosshairs there to centre everything. It's important that you have your grid lines on when you're doing any editing like this in your embroidery software. Now, as I said, this is Husqvarna Premier 2. I hope that a lot of the features are compatible and you can do the same sort of thing within your software by following what I'm doing here. Right, I'm going to pull the design out. There we are. Now, this is what I mean. In the modify, you wouldn't be able to do this, but you can select the embroideries. So if we select the first one, click on next design, and it shows us what's going to stitch next. And when we hit the control button, we can select those two and play around with them and make sure that they're centre. And we can also combine them here. So if we combine that, no, combine selected. All right, so now when we click those, we get that. So we have two groups. Hope you follow that. Let's go back to our second design. I'm going to rotate that one too. Whoops, gone too far. Remember, you've got little arrows at the top here where you can go back. Copy it, make sure it's in the clipboard, and go down to our working design. There we are. And that is sitting nicely there. Obviously, if you zoom in, you can check your alignment a lot better. Now, you will find that sometimes it's hard to get it to just sit exactly where you want it, and that's when you use the arrow keys on your keyboard, up, down, left or right. See how that was so much easier than using your mouse. Copy, paste, and flip it over by clicking that one. Now, there are many ways to move designs on within your software. If you use the arrow keys to move the site, if I'd used the arrow key, I'd have had to press it an awful lot of times, but the alignment would have, these would have still been aligned. If you do it with your mouse, it won't move directly across on the same, in the same place. So, but if we select this one and select that one, we should be able to align them horizontally. Align the top, and that doesn't look too bad. And notice that it's already beginning to fill out nicely. But there's something missing. Let's see what it is. To complete the design, here we are, here's our master copy. To complete the design, we need to add just a few little elements within to fill up the gap here, and 3 little blossoms across the top here. Now, you can't, in the Embroidery Ultra, you'd have to deselect these, ungroup them, and pull out elements, and that doesn't work that well. So I'm going to go to the modify, and I'm going to go down to, not that one, this one. No, that one. Now, when you highlight, when you put your mouse over colours, it shows you which colour does what. And if I remove that one, and I remove that one, immediately this flower and this leaf have been separated. And I can go up here to the freehand select, and whoops, I caught that yellow a little bit, and just draw a little lasso around it and copy it, and it's there on the clipboard. Take it back over here and paste it. Whoops, now that's not what you want to do. It's lovely that we've got these arrows at the top here now. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to scroll in and I'm going to put it there. And it immediately joins this design and this design. Copy it, paste it, flip it. Whoops. Now, why isn't it flipping? Because I moved it, that's why. I'm going to have to rotate it. Oh dear. No, I'm not happy with that. I'm going to start again. Copy, paste. That's it. Sometimes it's harder to do these things when you're working with a smaller element, and I'm trying to position it correctly. You may find that designs are not actually symmetrical because of the way this Celtic embroidery works. You know, this side isn't the same as that side, so you will get a little bit of discrepancy there. I'm going to, whoops, I'm going to group those together, and immediately I can see the alignment a lot better. Copy them, paste them, take that out, go in up here, use the crosshatch hairs in the middle there to help me, and I need to flip it round so that those ones are pointing down and those ones are pointing up, and that immediately joins the two lots of designs together. I'm not convinced about this. I think this one needs to come down. See it moving down. It wasn't central, as that crosshair shows me there. That's a lot better than it was. And now we go back and we just got to pick up a blossom. A bit difficult on that one. This one's easier because if we eliminate a number 4 and that one and that one, there we are. Now you can do a box select sometimes, but obviously if you've got anything too near it won't work, but it works in that instance. So back to our design over here, paste it. I know there's a lot of zooming in and out, but it's best to check your work as you're going along. That one will go there. That one will go there. Flip it round so that they are actually mirror imaged. And one more for the middle. And I'm going to use the middle of the actual hooped design, which is different from the middle of the Celtic knotwork. You remember, it's not always possible to do everything exact, especially if the digitizer hasn't got it all lined up, she says, tongue-in-cheek. Right, and there's our design. Now this is a new file, but make sure when you're doing any editing like this, always start with a fresh file and save it with a new name. You don't want to lose your original files that you've downloaded. although I do encourage you at Graceful Embroidery to keep copies. I usually, if I download designs, which I probably don't, but in the past I always kept the zip file and then extracted the designs out so that I had a backup. And of course all design files, while I'm talking about this, should not be kept on just on your computer. You need to keep them on a cloud. I mean, I'm happy for anybody to come back months, years later, and I will supply the designs to them that they bought the license to use, but not every company will do that. So it's very important to keep your precious design files, family photographs and everything on a cloud. I use Dropbox. All my work is on Dropbox, so that if I lost my computers or in the event of something awful, I've still got all my work. I'm so glad I came to the realization of doing that. And cloud servers are not too expensive if you're not keeping a great deal on them, but they do give you peace of mind for computer freezes and other such things. So there we are. There's our design. One more thing before I go, and go over to Stitch Editor, because I've just realized I'm 2 steps ahead of myself. New page, change the hoop. This size is not on my list of hoops as yet. This is the 12 by 8 or the 300 by 200. Let's paste it on. There we have our design. If I go to the view section and take out the grid and all the commands, we see here we've got 59 colorways. That's not very good at all. So we're going to color sort. We have to go to modify to do that. No, it's on the home page. And we're down to 10, which is a lot more easy to stitch out. Now you can save it as a VP4, or no, it's 1 step ahead of me, or you can export it, and when you export you have the choice of most formats that are available today, except for the Art Bernina ones. Oh no, well it says Bernina, but that's PES. Bernina fonts are rather, you have to have Bernina software to convert into Bernina designs. Art 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think they even go to 8 now. So those are the two ways you've got of saving a design. So that is the first design. I hope you've enjoyed how I've put that together. I'm going to move on to my next combination, which is a little bit more difficult or a little bit more tricky, and I do it in a different way. Bye for now.